40 to 60, 8 lessons that I've learned over the last 20 years. Hey everybody, Sophie here. So today I am celebrating my 60th birthday. And I am so grateful, and I am just grateful. I feel blessed and grateful to have got to the ripe old age of 60, feeling the way that I am feeling, having my health, having my strength, having my vitality. I am blessed and grateful. So my gift to you is that I want to share with you 8 lessons that I've learned over the last 20 years. Now, it was really hard condensing this down to, I was thinking, I just want to give a gift of perhaps what I've learned. And it was very hard distilling it down to only 8 lessons that I've learned, but I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to show you what or gift you with these lessons in the hope that it might help you a little bit too. Okay, so let's get on with it. Lesson number 1 is do it imperfectly, but do it anyway. So as a recovering perfectionist, and so many of the women that I work with are also recovering perfectionists, I've realized and I've learned over the years that there is no such, that actually, I was going to say, obviously there's no such thing as perfect, but perfectionism is the lowest standard. Why? Because there is no such thing. And so I've learned to do it anyway. So done is better than perfect. And I've learned over and over and over again just to get on with it and just to do it. Because if I wait until I try and get it perfect or be perfect, or it's got to be a certain way, or it's got to be right, or it's got to be good, and this is a really big block for so many women that I help with getting into the best shape of their lives, because they're so used to, I've got to do it a certain way, and if I fail and if I wobble, then I might as well throw the towel in and not do it at all. And so what I've learned and what I coach women to do is just do it, and do it imperfectly, do it poorly. I would never be able to sit here and make any single one of the YouTube videos that I've done over the last 15 years if I hadn't have just gone, look, I've just got to turn the camera on and just, risk just this being a disaster, or not being good, or saying the wrong thing, or offending somebody, or looking terrible, or my roots haven't been done, or whatever it is. I just have to do it. And so I never would have written any of the books that I've written. The greatest advice that a writing mentor ever gave me before I wrote my first book is, when I had writer's block and I'm like, I can't do it, was, can you sit down for 1 hour a day and write poorly, write completely imperfectly? And I went, yeah, that I can do. So I sat down and I did it. So that's a big lesson that I've learned, to do it imperfectly, and that done is better than perfect. So lesson number 2 is to sidestep energy vampires. So I think one of the biggest lessons and reliefs in many ways over the last 20 years that I've learned is to protect my energy. Because my energy and your energy is very, very precious, and it can easily be zapped away, it can be drained, it can be disturbed. And given the fact that energy and time is our most precious resource, I've learned to sidestep and to manage energy vampires in my life. And energy vampires could be people, places, and things, anything that saps and depletes my energy. So whether that is, a person, maybe a very needy person who dumps and is just committed to celebrating their limitations or staying in negativity, whether it is, negative people, being around negative people and engaging in negative gossip, whether it is engaging in negative, fearful media, doom scrolling on the phone, and even things in some ways that seem to give some relief in the moment. It can be things like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, so I'm just going to pick up my phone and start doom scrolling, or I'm feeling awful, so I'm just going to binge watch Netflix. it's really beginning to understand, and I've got slowly wiser and wiser with this over the years, is what is a distraction? And distractions and procrastination are very often things that actually sap my energy. In the moment, I think it's going to make me feel better, or it's going to numb me from doing what I need to do, or the feelings that I need to lean into. But in the long run, it is just an energy zapper. A dream stealer, so many of these things are. So I've learned how to manage and really sidestep and recognize what those energy and who those energy vampires are, and how to deal with them effectively so I can really get on with my day and be super productive and resourceful. So that's number 2. Number 3, and I'm just looking at my list here so I don't forget anything, is to make daily deposits into what I call my future dream self bank account. So I always have a visualization of what I call my future dream self, or my future most powerful self or highest self. And this is what I really coach my clients to do, because if you don't have a goal, then you don't know where you're going. You've got nowhere to head to. And having this really compelling vision of your future self, your future dream self, which is wrapped with great purpose to it, it pulls you into the future and it gives you hope. So I start there, and then I start making every single day, or don't start making, I make every single day little tiny daily deposits into what I call that sort of bank account, wellness bank account or future self bank account. And they're little actions that I take every single day, no matter what. And sometimes these little actions can seem tedious, and they can seem seemingly insignificant because you're doing them day after day after day after day. But these small, seemingly insignificant little deposits and actions that I'm taking over and over and over and over, rinse and repeat, and this really is where consistency comes in, yields incredible results over time. So what I've learned is it's not about the big, like, I'm going to get into the best shape of my life because it's a vacation, or this year I'm going to learn to do this, whatever it is. It's not those big, broad goals and strokes and resolutions. It's actually the day-to-day little deposits that I get to make and you get to make too. And then it becomes easy. It's just for today, I make these little deposits into my wellness bank account. And guess what? When I do that it gains compound interest, much like when you invest in a financial account. You don't see returns that day, but over time you look back and you go, wow, I really put a lot in there, and now I can see the incredible returns. So that's number 3. Number 4 is to learn how to shift focus. So it's very easy when we're in stress mode to, and it's fight, flight, freeze mode is the 3 Fs. And many of us live in that mode a lot of the time. We're in chronic stress with this modern environment that we live in. And it's really understanding and recognizing that when you're in stress mode, when you're coming from fear and contraction, it's a feeling of contraction. You're never going to be able to make the best decisions, or be creative, or find really creative solutions, or be resourceful. You're never going to be able to, and I've really learned that. So I've learned in those moments when I'm feeling, oh, wait a minute, I can feel that I'm in that stress mode, to take a few breaths and to shift focus, because it's really about what you're focusing on that moves you forward. And what I mean by that is, if I'm focusing, which I do when I'm in stress mode or fear mode, you by default, the brain starts to focus on everything that's going wrong, nothing that's working, catastrophizing. We can only go on what we know, our past sort of memory bank, the filing cabinet that we go into and dredge out everything. It's our default network. It's our default neural pathways. So what I've learned to get very good at doing is how to shift focus in that moment and almost snap myself out of it. And in that moment go, okay, let's stop focusing on everything I don't want or that's not working, and let's focus on what you do want. So I've learned to ask myself these really powerful questions. What do you want? How do you want to feel? What has to happen? What else is available? what else could be true? So I've developed these very powerful questions that I always have in my back pocket, and it helps me in that moment to shift focus, because ultimately I know what I put my attention on increases. Or you've heard the old thing of where your attention goes, energy flows, and it's absolutely true. So that is number 4. Number 5 is I have learned to set up a morning, I call it my morning magic mindset routine. So I have to have a routine. It's absolutely non-negotiable for me. Every single morning, it's my morning mindset routine, or I call it my morning magic mindset routine. And why it's magical for me is that it takes me from waking up in the morning feeling cranky, anxious, the days ahead. I almost have this sort of forgetting piece in my brain when I go to sleep at night and I wake up in that old default network, that it's my responsibility, because no one else is going to do it for me, to sit down. And over the years, I've created a really solid, bulletproof morning mindset routine or ritual, where I sit down through meditation, visualization, and prayer, and sometimes some journaling, to completely change everything around and it doesn't have to take long. It can take 15 to 30 minutes, but during that time, I find my North Star. I find my purpose. I set myself sort of in the right direction and really change everything. I change my mindset completely so that I can be proactive during the day. I can decide how I'm going to respond rather than reactive to everything that's just thrown at me. So shift number 6 is stop judging a book by its cover. And so I think this is probably one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over the years, and I think we learn this through wisdom, don't we, as we get a bit older. It's an old trope, don't judge a book by its cover, but it is so true. And over the years, I've learned more and more just not to judge anyone until you really understand where they've come from, their story, their hurts, their suffering, whether it's generational or it's in their life. Because what you see on the outside and what you see at first blush, I've learned that I have absolutely no comprehension of perhaps what that person has gone through and what they've grown up with and their difficulties and their challenges. And ultimately, it helps me to be so patient and tolerant and compassionate, because I've also learned that hurt people hurt people. And if people are blaming and attacking and hurting and bullying, or whatever people do, it's because of their hurt. Happy people who are happy with themselves don't do that. So that's just a beautiful lesson that I've learned. Lesson number 7, we're almost there, is to wash the dishes beautifully. So this was something that was so lovely, that was given to me by a mentor many years ago, about 40 years ago. I'm lucky enough to have many mentors in my life. And this woman said to me, Sophie, wash the dishes beautifully. And at first I thought, what is she talking about? Wash the dishes beautifully. And I think at the time I lived in a flat, we call it a flat in England, where I had no dishwasher. So I think I was like complaining about, I got to do all this and do all that. And she said, just wash the dishes beautifully. And now, and over the years, it sort of sank in. It clicked on really what she meant, which is to be very present, to be in the moment, to make small daily tasks, whether it was the job that I was working at the time or doing the dishes, to take my time to breathe and to find the beauty in every single moment. And the way that I could find the beauty was by washing the dishes beautifully, rather than, this is a chore. Or another way is washing them, wash it. And she said also, this is wash them for God, do them so beautifully. And learning how to do that in all these little different areas of my life, particularly things that I felt were very sort of tedious and boring and difficult. So wash the dishes beautifully. And finally, lesson number 8 is to never give up. Never give up. You're never too old, it's never too late, and never give up. So I have had times, as I'm sure you have too, where I've really been on the floor. You know, you're knocked to the floor, the rug is ripped from under your feet. You know, we've all had that, haven't we? Losses and terrible things that have happened around us and to people around us. And, you know, it's in those moments actually that I've had my greatest growth. And it's in those moments that I've learned to lean in, to feel it, to heal it, because there's no getting around it, is there? There's only going through it. And in those moments, I've learned ultimately to never, ever give up. And particularly when it seems like every single door is being slammed in your face. You know, I've learned that if there are 10 doors and 9 doors seemingly are slammed in your face with a no, 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 maybe that 10th door is the door that is going to open. And so it's grit, it's perseverance, it's resilience, it's to keep on going. And speaking to a slightly more mature women's audience that I do is never give up, and you're never, ever too old to change, to bring back your health, to reverse your health, to reinvent yourself, to do what you dream of doing. You know, as I often say to my lovely clients, you know, what makes your heart sing? What makes your heart sing? In my deepest, darkest moments, that's the journal prompt that I work with, and that brought up, you know, wanting to write books and wanting to do things that I never would have found had I not given myself, look, you know, we're not giving up, and this is an opportunity to go deeper and to find out what makes your heart sing. And part of that, of never giving up, is also to say yes, a big, huge yes to life. Because you never know, and my mother actually always told me this, is just say yes. Just say yes. Because you never know what's on the other side of that yes. And my mother was so right. Because I'd go, I don't want to do that, or I'm too scared, or it doesn't. She'd go, just say yes. You never know. You never know. And I never did know. Equally, I've also learned, this is another little extra bonus here, is what to say no to. Because oftentimes, you know, saying no to things, the people pleaser in me saying no to things so that I say yes to me. So that's my gift to you. Those are the 8 lessons that I've learned, or I would say 8 of the many lessons. I could have done 20 here or 30, but 8 are the ones that I think perhaps are the most salient. And I hope it gives you a little bit to think about today. And big love to all of you. I am just so grateful for you as my community on YouTube. Many of you have stuck with me since, my gosh, like 16 years from when my first book launched, all the way back all those years ago. And so I just want to thank you and tell you as my community how incredibly grateful I am for you, and that you stick around and you leave your beautiful comments, and that you share little bits about you as well. And so can you give me my birthday gift? And my birthday gift this year is, can you let me know in the comments below what is perhaps one of your most important life lessons that you've learned over the last 20 years of your life. Let's gift each other with this beautiful wisdom that we've all accrued, because that is the joy of getting older, right? We get wiser. Big love, and I'll see you next time.